Soft, dog. I'm sorry. Like, that was the softest shit I ever heard, bro.
What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce. Throwing bows, been in the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
I'd simply like to apologize if you did hear DG at the beginning of that. There is a delay for DG's microphone for some reason that it's being unmuted.
You heard me.
I know I did.
You heard me. Soft.
Oh,
where I'm from, bullies get bullied, allegedly.
Soft.
Unless you play in Detroit, soft ass.
What's that Kobe mean when he's soft?
Soft. Zebo told Boogie Cousins, where I'm from, bullies get bullied. Apparently not. You live in Detroit, I guess. No.
Like, don't you play in the? You like for the? Like, come on, gang. Your whole city ain't. The city you play in ain't soft.
Bro, he played at Bama under Saban. That's probably the softest thing I've ever heard a Bama player say. I've heard a lot of crazy stuff from college players, but to play at Alabama, he was one of the better DBs to come from there. That was the softest statement I've ever heard. I couldn't imagine a Bama player saying that. I know PS2, Terry Arnold, like, what you say? You said that really? Like, all right, bro. Telling grown men you got bullied on national television is freaking crazy. In a sport where it's literally meant for you to impose your will on another man's mental and physical. And you literally told everyone that you felt you was getting bullied. Well, good luck the rest of the season. Because guess what everybody else going to do? They're going to bully the hell out of you, nigga, for the rest of the year. Good luck. But we can start the show.
All right. So, the Chiefs bullied the Bullies. The most physical team in the National Football League came into Kansas City at Arrowhead and got beat 30-17. It wasn't 31. It would have been 31 had Harrison Butker, of course, made his point after attempt. But 30-17, Chiefs get the victory over the Lions. Obviously, you know how we feel about the Brian Branch aspect of it from that standpoint. I mean, it was soft. It was soft to complain about a block in the back. And if you really had that big of an issue, then you should have fought him right then on the field. And you didn't. You decided to walk up to him after everything had been done. And everybody's shaking their hands, and CJ knows this, as a former football player, but like, I'm glad Joshua Briscoe made this point on his show, everything else, like after football games, because everybody tries to come together, and it's was it Joshua Briscoe or was it Nick Wright? It was one of the two. I feel bad for getting both of those because I heard from both of them, or maybe one of them. I can't remember.
I heard Nick Wright talk about it.
Nick Wright talked about it. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Joshua Briscoe, awesome person. He just didn't make this great point. Sorry. Nick Wright made this point of like after football games, everybody is like, we're glad we made it through the football game because it's a very dangerous thing generally. Because you see fights usually during, because he was talking about it, he was explaining to his kid. You see fights before, sometimes when everybody's hyped up during warm-ups. You do fights during because the emotions get the best of you and it's a very physical game, but you rarely see it afterwards. For that reason, you see a bunch of prayer circles. If you really had that big of an issue, you should have got your issue off before. That's in my personal opinion. And, the times in which we've seen fights afterwards, very rare. But in the case of the Josh Norman, and who was the tackle that he fought? Was it Lewan? Lewan came over to him and did the arrow thing and initiated it. And that started the fight. You do not go up to somebody and just randomly do it. If you got to get your issue off, get your issue off. In my opinion, you don't do it after and everything, and apparently you've had to sit on it for however long it was.
You could have done that any point in time during the game.
It was 5 minutes of game time left, even though the game was over with, and obviously like 20 minutes in between, and apparently now you were mad about it. Soft in my opinion. Anyway, that's our feelings as far as the Brian Branch aspect of it is concerned. Anyway, taken away from that, big picture for you guys. Chiefs coming off a disappointing loss in Monday Night Football on the road to Jacksonville. The way in which they were able to turn things around. Defense obviously started out a little bit slow in this game. Lions were able to march down for a touchdown. It looked kind of bad early on. The Monroe drop seemed like it was a little bit of a turning point for them to kind of slow down the Lions defense. And then obviously the offense has continued what has been really good play outside of really that the Travis Kelce dropped interception, against the Eagles, and the pick six from that standpoint as well, obviously from Patrick Mahomes. Like, this offense is rolling. So your big picture takeaways from the Chiefs win over the Detroit Lions?
The two biggest turning points in that game were probably, like you said, the drop by Amon-Ra. Definitely didn't see that coming. I thought he caught it. Definitely never seen him make that bad of a drop, especially on fourth down when you got to have it. Your best player, probably arguably the best hands in the league. Amon-Ra is one of the best guys. So to see him drop that was a turning point. And then Jared Goff, like we said on our reaction show yesterday, to make that mistake on the goal line, you rep that play in your mind or in warm-ups or in walkthroughs thousands and hundreds of times. So for him to make that mistake was probably one of those are two biggest plays in the game that could have changed the turning point of the game for me. So big picture wise, I think our defense plays, I don't know what it is, like we play up to the standard when we're at home, when we have our backs against the wall, i.e. the Baltimore game or the Philly game, when we got to have it. And there's a good quarterback or a good offense coming in town with a lot of weapons, and guys rise to the occasion, and Spags calls a good game, and guys play beyond their means and up to the standard that we expect them to play at. Offensively, I was never really worried about what we were going through. It's just literally 2 or 3 plays into our season, we lost our number one target for a couple of weeks. So we knew when he came back, the offense would take a turn and guys would slowly start to get better. And now we get our number one option back in 4, EGE coming back this week. It's going to be even scarier. So big picture, I think we're in a good spot. We've been averaging 30 points the last 3 weeks, back to the standard that we hold ourselves to as an offense, more so as Chiefs Kingdom when Andy Reid's been here. So I think we're in a good place. Defensively, we've seen a lot of adjustments that we've all been asking for. So it's a long way to go. Obviously, we know we still got a lot of football left to play before our bye, but I think we're in a good place right now, more so defensively than offensively, just because guys are playing better, and Nohl Williams is looking like another great draft steal by Veach at corner for sure.
Man, don't it pay to have comparable tackle play?
Boy. What we would have did.
I think we all said that, coming into this season, if this team can just get above average tackle play from their tackles, how much better this offense could be moving forward. And Brett Veach, shout out to him and his staff. They went out and addressed it in the offseason, and it's paying off. I think initially the plan was probably for Jaylon Moore to be the starter here for this team, for the foreseeable future. And then Josh Simmons just kind of fell into their laps. And when that kind of situation happens, you have to take advantage of it. So in a sense, now you don't have Josh Simmons this game, and Jaylon Moore gets his opportunity to step in and basically do his job, basically do what he was paid to come here to do. And it proved on Sunday night against the Lions that it pays to have a comparable starter on your bench that you can rely upon when things get a little dicey at points in time. I also think that this game was an attitude game for the whole team, coming off a loss of where you just kind of felt like you virtually should have won that game in Jacksonville. Heard everybody, there were too many times where you shot yourself in the foot and things of that nature. And so now it was a point in emphasis to come out and prove to the world, that, hey, we're still here. If we execute our game plan, we execute the high level we know how to play at, we can beat any team in this league. It doesn't matter. So I thought the physicality was great from both sides of the ball, from the defensive line to the offensive line. And I just think we really ran out there and bullied essentially who the Bullies are. The Lions have been beating a lot of teams in this league at this point in time. And, you went out there and proved to the world that, like I said last night on the post-game show, a lot of people were saying that they were the best team in the league. And you went out there and bullied them and beat them by double digits. So, attitude game for the Chiefs, man. Hopefully this is the momentum that they need, especially with RASHEE Rice coming back this week and moving forward and getting into stride for the full season.
Good takeaways. Jaylon Moore, obviously a major aspect of it. CJ talked about, the defense and that there's a lot of things that you could take away. We're going to get into this more, but I have to preempt this given the fact that we did just talk about the Brian Branch aspect of that standpoint. Juju, in my opinion, gets unnecessary hate. I don't understand why people don't like him. Like, I understood why it was fun to make fun of him because of the TikTok thing. Like, I understood that. But it's not like he ever did anything bad to anybody. All he's done is gone out there, especially when it comes to Kansas City, and been a consummate pro and been a veteran. And if everybody else hates him, he is a guy that I'm happy to have on the team because we'll get into more of the tape breakdown. But the Chiefs actually just posted this, and I want to put it up here so you guys can see it. Hollywood Brown on the touchdown goes out and asks Juju what he has on his route, and he tells him what it is. He tells him what route Hollywood Brown run to get the touchdown. And those are the things that when you have veterans on your teams that make the difference. And I talk about this a lot when Juju runs certain routes a certain way so that other guys can get open because he is selfish vet in that manner. The fact that he blocks the way he does so that other people can get to the edge and be able to create yards after the catch, or obviously have the run game working. Those are the things that matter so much to a wide receiver room, that you can have a guy that's going to do the dirty work, is a veteran that understands the details, and is there to help out his teammates. Juju Smith-Schuster is a consummate aspect of it. And I'm willing to stand up and say, if I'm the person that's the only person that likes Juju Smith-Schuster, then I'll be him, because that's exactly what I want as a veteran in the wide receiver room. And there's a lot of teams in the National Football League that can use a veteran in the wide receiver room like Juju Smith-Schuster. I promise you that. So
I said it all summer. He's the ultimate six-man for this roster. All the dirty work, all the detail DMac just mentioned, that's exactly what Juju embodies. And to come from, also to DMac's point, 10 years ago, and it's crazy Juju been in the league 10 years. When he came in the league as a 20-year-old out of USC, for him to be that 10-year veteran and to be the young, immature guy when he was in Pittsburgh that nobody wanted to deal with because of the off-the-field video games or dancing or TikToks, whatever you thought were distractions. Now him being the leader in the group, being the old head, helping guys. And you got to think Juju's been in his offense for the third year now, so nobody knows the offense better than him outside of, Kelsey and the guys who've been here for years. So for him to tell Hollywood, who's only in his second year, what the route runs and that concept in that moment, that's huge. And that's something that you can't value on a stat sheet. You can't value in a checkbook when you're signing contracts and picking guys in free agency. Those are just little things that you have to be willing to sacrifice and be an unselfish player. And that's why I make the joke about hashtag Juju catches everything. But I think he's literally the ultimate six-man for this roster. Any little thing we need done for the team, he's going to go out there and do it. And I think he showed that this week for sure.
Absolutely. That's just that clip that they posted. I was like, that's I felt amazing. Like I needed to.
That's the first time we've seen that today. That's dope.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's what you have veteran wide receivers for it. And
that's good football.
Right, obviously, this Chiefs wide receiver core is coming into focus, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But you've got young guys, obviously, Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy. You've got guys kind of in the middle of their career, as far as a guy like Hollywood Brown, who we're seeing now a more well-rounded game from, which I think is fun. And obviously the veterans like Juju Smith-Schuster. And that's the awesome thing about it is you have drafted well into this room. So guys like Jaylon Royals are just sitting, waiting in the rings, ready for their time to come. And they're learning from these people that are obviously excelling as it is. So just wanted to sneak that in there. So we're going to start on the defensive side of the ball, kind of breaking this down. And we came out of last week incredibly frustrated by the fact that Shamari Connor spent a lot of time in the slot. Ultimately, in this game versus the Lions, even though they did play a lot of heavy personnel, they had Shamari Connor for the least amount of snaps in the slot during this game versus the Lions. And ultimately, that meant more of everybody's favorite rookie cornerback, Nohl Williams, being on the field and being able to make an impact. And obviously that allowed Trent McDuffie to move inside. And I think it obviously bore out from pretty impressive results as to what the Chiefs were able to do to limit this Lions offense that was not only number one in the National Football League, had averaged 31 or averaged 30 plus points coming into the season, had put up 52, 38, 32, and 35, I believe, coming in the 4 previous games. So awesome job by the defense. Obviously a big piece is on the back end as far as what Nohl Williams brings to the table, moving Trent McDuffie inside. So we wanted to break down as far as Nohl Williams snaps, and he's going to start out here at the top of the screen. DG, I'm going to play this, but you go ahead, and because I know you just want to be so happy about Nohl Williams being on the field and Shamari Connor out of the slot and playing very well at their safety position, I might add.
He looked good out there, boy.
It makes me emotional. I can just cry at this point because, man, I feel like I before I get into Nohl Williams, like Spags trolls every game.
I keep telling everybody this, bro. Y'all think I'm playing?
Spags trolls every game. the lack this week. Last week it was the lack of use of Nohl Williams. Now this week it was we're not gonna play Jay Nix, like, and we're still gonna win. But yeah, putting Nohl back out there, man, and playing your coverage guys proves what you can do with this defense. I felt like they did a really good job of not necessarily like slowing down Amon-Ra, but containing him to where he's not, killing you. Although that essentially means
9 catches, but not like big yardage though.
Yeah, a guy like Jameson Williams ends up having a few big plays or whatever.
He had 9 catches, but it didn't feel like he had 9.
Yeah, it wasn't like no huge plays. A lot of them were like minimal gains.
And that's what you live for. You live for the fact that hey, this guy 14 is their best weapon. Between him and no disrespect to Jameson Williams, because I think Jameson Williams is a hell of a weapon as well too. But between him and Laporta, I think that those are the two guys that you really got to circle. Like, hey, we got to be able to really contain these guys. And I think there were some times where they did let Laporta, get open. He had that crazy. That
touchdown catch was tough.
That was
right in front of him.
Like,
that's a hell of a
but that's one of those things. And Shamari Connor on that play, like, I couldn't be mad at him. There's nothing he can really do. Like, just a great, better, good defense, but better offense. But yeah, having your coverage guys out there on the field, guys that actually know how to play corner, it proves dividends for you. And I thought Nohl, even though I still think that there are some things where he's a little bit inexperienced and still learning the system and things of that nature, you can see the coverage instincts that he has. Even the catch, even on the 4th and 2 that Amon-Ra dropped or whatever, Nohl was still in great position to even try to make a play on that. That was still sticky coverage and a tough catch for Amon-Ra to even have to make or whatever. So it proves to have these guys on the field that know how to play their techniques, know how these receivers run their routes, and putting them on the field. And then you put your all-pro slot cornerback in the slot.
Let him do his thing.
Yes, and look where it worked. And I know Trent McDuffie has talked about how much he loves actually playing out on the outside and trying to be that number one corner to kind of travel with the best receivers in the league, and he would love the opportunity. But we all know that this is where McDuffie thrives the best. This is where Spags can use him as a centerpiece of this defense and use him as a weapon of this defense to either blitz or to cover guys who are elite route runners in the slot or whatever. It gives you an advantage from a coverage perspective to be able to do what you need to do with your defense. So I was so happy to see the usage of Nohl Williams being back in there. I think this kid is the sky is the limit for him or whatever. And I think that moving forward, him and McDuffie, I think are going to be a great combo together, especially as the years go on.
I did want to stop it here as far as these snaps before concerned, and you saw some of them early on as well. But the way in which they do communicate this effectively, in my opinion, was pretty good. I know obviously like it ends up with the Laporta, play outside, but they're just handling the stack releases between Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown effectively, and that's a massive thing for being able to defend this Lions offense. And then you see another one where they're going to bring Amon-Ra out again. McDuffie and Nohl are on the same page. Hey, McDuffie's going to carry this out from the slot and playing maybe a little bit of a cover 6 overall look where he's playing quarters to that side where he's going to carry it up the seam on kind of the slot fade. And Nohl Williams immediately clamps down and says, hey, I'm not going to allow Amon-Ra to get a very easy, inside release. I'm going to play this, to show where Jared Goff likes to throw it automatically. And look, he's ready to try and get this ball underneath to Amon-Ra as well. And he does end up throwing it. Amon-Ra makes a really good catch, but Nohl is right there for the tackle. And that's a credit to Nohl Williams playing with the proper leverage and understanding what the Lions want to do to be able to convert. And then on this play, they show a little cover 2 look. What they end up running is a little bit of cover 1 double, ultimately where Shamari Connor and Nohl Williams bracketing Amon-Ra outside, on the outside specifically. And hey, that's good formula for if you're gonna mix in a 1 double specifically against this team, then take away the end breakers from Amon-Ra, especially when he can run from those tight splits. So they have, which is somebody else here that I'm gonna point out, Mr. Christian Roland Wallace out there playing single safety. That's a little bit of a key of the show that Spags does trust him to do that on a consistent basis. Plays a little cover 1. McDuffie lined up with J-Mo. They've got Nick responsible for Jahmyr Gibbs, who actually ends up making the play here. Drew takes the tight end out from the slot as well for Sam Laporta. Bracket Shamari Connor inside, Nohl Williams outside. Take that option away from Jared Goff. He's got to go to a secondary one and say, hey, I think my next matchup is trying to get down here to Jahmyr Gibbs, and he ends up throwing it away because Nick Bolton has good coverage there. And again, those are some of the coverage wrinkles that you're going to see. But I thought this was a very interesting snap, for the double on Amon-Ra, the obviously Christian Wallace deep, and then how Nick Bolton did a good job on Jahmyr Gibbs. But those 3 sequence of plays shows just how important it is to have a plan in place for the number 1, weapon on the other team. Because if you don't, then you're going to end up getting beat by them on they can make you pay, obviously. And even 9 catches, that doesn't mean that they did do that.
And DG said it earlier, like, I know people hate it when Spags experiments in the middle of the season. I told y'all this last week. We've been doing this for years. This is nothing new. There's going to be weeks where, like, Jaden Hicks doesn't play. Christian Wallace has an interception, then he doesn't play. It's just part of his long game of having a 17-game season where I have to see how guys react to getting heavy snaps in this type of scenario. How do you react in this environment, playing a big game on the road or a night game at home? How do you react if you have to get starter reps or backup reps, playing in the slot, playing deep safety too high? He's just getting all these experiments out now. So when we get to the end of the season, DG, we will know the rotation. We'll know the starting safeties, and we know who's going to play the main guys. And then if we have an injury happen, knock on wood, God forbid, we know who can step up in certain moments. So this is the part of the season where you get those troll moments or experiment moments. Like, why isn't Jaden Hicks playing? Because you have Christian Wallace and Shamari Connor playing deep safety, and guys need spots to show what they can do. And I think when you give these guys opportunities to rotate at safety, now you build depth. And then you can show Trent, we trust you to play. Well, more so, we trust Nohl to play outside, which means we can move you around to match up with a guy like Amon-Ra. And we said that in our last show. If there's a week you want Trent in the slot, this is the week to do so. So I was glad to see that this week.
Yeah. That's funny. Nohl Williams at the top of the screen. This is a good understanding of who you're facing. They want to get to their end breakers. And he's like, Isaac Tesla can't beat me down the field, in my opinion. So Nohl Williams is going to sit on the end breaker, say, nah, you're not going to be able to get inside. McDuffie makes the play on Amon-Ra there for the short gain as well. This was more of a Brian Cook play. As I think Nohl is at the top of the screen, not involved here, but I had to leave this in here because this is also played by Brian Cook. In this situation, it's very easy for a guy with Jamel's speed to be able to make one guy miss and get out of there, especially with 2 blockers in front of him. Brian Cook does a great job making one of the blockers miss immediately by getting underneath and then just absolutely beelining to J-Mo and being able to upend him. Great job by Cook playing downhill. This was after the Drew Tranquil tackle for loss at the top of the screen off of was it a screen pass or was it? I think it was a screen pass. But Drew Tranquil made a really good tackle for loss out wide, but this shut it down and made them punt as well.
I know the receiver coach for Detroit gonna be sick watching that play. Both of y'all with. Neither one of y'all made the block.
Shout out to the late great Therese Paylor. The contract year is undefeated, man.
TP.
Brian Cook is definitely trying to earn some money for next year. He's played out of his mind.
After that first week, he's been alive.
Yeah, after that first week, he's been balling. Definitely a lot of splash plays from him lately.
Little cover 6 at the goal line. They got 4 over the 3 here. Tranquil's going to take the tight end to his side as he goes through his zone. Everybody well matched up. Nohl Williams playing top down on Amon-Ra. Make sure he can't swing back inside. Trent McDuffie helps him clean up. He stops him short on 1st and goal.
Yeah, and I think that the best part about this game,
This is a good job by, I was going to say real quick, good job by Connor triggering downhill on Amon-Ra here after Nohl is jamming at the line. Go ahead, DG. Oh, he froze. I was like, why did you stop talking?
He was like, where'd he go? I think they did a good job of communicating all night because obviously I was watching the game when I was there. It was kind of funny because obviously these are two of the more explosive offenses in the league when they're fully healthy. Both of us ran a lot of 4x1 sets. I think the only other team I've seen do that this frequently was us, Detroit, and I think Buffalo. So to see a lot of that many 4x1s, as you could tell, both these teams knew how important this game was. Because obviously, I love stack formations. I love bunches. I think it helps your guys get open quicker. It helps guys get into our route concepts and give the defense confusion, especially when you're in the red zone. But to see as much stack as we did and the way we handled it, I think that's a great job to DMac's point earlier of communication and talking those things out during the week, saying, hey, if we're going to go in and out, based on your leverage, based on who goes vertical, based on how much speed they have out there, how we're going to play it matchup-wise and how we're going to play it scheme-wise. So, but it all starts with film study and it starts with communication. So I think Coach Merritt and Spag did a great job of putting guys in position. And to the point earlier of having all those snaps of Trent in the slot, it's not a mistake by not that many explosive plays this week. So I think that's by design for sure.
Yeah, and to your point about playing the stack well, they did certainly, throughout the night play the stacks on, a pretty high level in my personal opinion. This was one of them where they didn't. This one kind of jams off Nohl Williams, and JMO gets a pretty free release to go across the formation, and McDuffie recognizes it, tries to run with them. But sometimes your pass rush picks up your back end of the secondary and makes it so it doesn't matter. Chris Jones immediately wins, creates the pressure, and Charles cleans it up. And so even though you didn't play the stack well in this rep, your pass rush showed up where it needed to. And that's a credit to obviously the pass rush showing up in that rep specifically. But yeah, I thought they did a good job communicating the entirety of the night. There's no doubt about that.
Good to see the rush get home. I know we were clamoring on that all week. It was very frustrating in the first quarter to see Jared Goff get out of that and run for that first down. I almost threw my phone. That was so frustrating. In these situations when you got to have it third down, fourth down, especially when they're long and Jared Goff's not moving off his spot, these are the weeks you have to get pressure. So I love to see George bend the edge right here, make Jared Goff know he can't step up, make him step up in the pocket. Chris obviously causing a double team, and then Nick comes in there and cleans up the play. And it was the same thing was indicative on the play before when Chris beats his man initially, gets just Jared Goff off his spot, and then Charles comes there and cleans it up for the sack. Kind of similar to what Omar got Norman Lott when he got his first sack versus the Philadelphia Eagles game. So guys just helping each other out. We would love to get the first guy there to get the initial sack, but as long as you're getting guys to take his eyes off the receivers and focus on the rush, put his guys downfield, and obviously let guys go out there and make plays. And pass rush helps your secondary helps your pass rush. So I think that was a big example of that this week.
I love the way Nohl shuts down this vertical route at the
this Tesla right here. Yeah,
at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, it's Tesla. Go ahead, DG. I know you were talking before you froze.
No, I was just speaking to the frustration on Amon-Ra's face. Pretty much the whole game, you could clearly tell. He was frustrated. The entire game with I guess with the amount of coverage that he was kind of receiving from this game. Every time they didn't convert or something like that, or he came off, it just seemed like after every reception, it was like
he was just mad because he's not getting no big yak.
Yeah, bro, this is tough.
Yeah.
You can make catches, but if you're not breaking tackles afterwards and not getting big gains, it's gonna feel like that. Why are you sick it to me like this? Because Amon-Ra is somebody that's used to a lot of separation as well,
and he's kind of predictable too. DG, like no disrespect to Amon-Ra, he's a top 10 receiver. Top 5 in most people's eyes, but he doesn't really get like a lot of vertical routes. His money route, like DMac said earlier, usually is his dig in breaking routes, like slants, digs. So when you know that it's Trent, like I know he's not going to beat me over the top. Not to say he can't do it, but he's just not a very like speedy receiver. He's quick and shifty. So if I can sit on your in breaking routes, it can frustrate you. So even if you do catch the ball, it's for minimal gain, and then he drops the ball because of lack of focus. So.
It just, Nohl catching Amon-Ra here. I know it's probably frustrating again from Amon-Ra, but no, that was Trent catching Amon-Ra.
Yeah, Trent, yeah.
But look at the way Nohl mirrors this on the bottom of your screen, man. Just perfectly playing.
That's perfect technique, bro.
He
ran the route for him. That's phase. That's perfect phase. That's what you want.
It's so good. So yes, Oh, the Red Bull hat. When you're, I was trying to figure out what Scratch was talking about. Yeah, my Red Bull racing hat. When Nohl Williams is out here playing like this, and we know Watson has been solid, if not very good, on the other side, and McDuffie's inside, then the secondary falls into place. No matter who you have at the safety, whether it's Christian Wallace, you want to play for a few snaps in the back end, Obviously, Jaden Hicks rotating in. He only played, I think it was 4 snaps, which is interesting, but we can, as long as Shamari Connor plays the level that he is and Brian Cook does, I mean, it's okay. We would obviously like to see a change, but it
DG,
is.
you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen this week, DG?
Who's not going to play this week?
Ashton Gelati about to get every
snap.
No
snaps.
He ain't about to get no snaps this week.
We've been seeing Mike Dana the whole game.
He's like, who don't want to play this week? Mike, sit down, bro. You play Ashton. You sit down, bro. Mike playing the whole game this week. I swear. He's going to bench somebody that ain't going to get no snaps. We're going to be like, what?
Swag's be trolling, bro.
Swag's like, who ain't played? Let me see.
So that was one piece of it, the back end being better, in my opinion. That was obviously incredibly key and obviously something that we clamored for as far as that was concerned. Thank you. I appreciate that, Swag. The second piece of it was what happened up front. I talked about how the ability to, on the early down runs, to be able to be a force was going to be incredibly key. And they ultimately only had 3 run stuff, and they were all by Nick Bolton, which, again, shout out to Nick Bolton, doing your thing, kid. Even though people wanted to cut you at some point during this game, ultimately, because you gave up, a few catches over the middle of the field, which if you watch the Lions is very, they always do that. If you watch them, they're going to be able to do so. But we did want to talk about kind of the Leo Chenal aspect of it and their ability to have him as a versatile piece, as the Sam linebacker, and what he was able to do against the Lions. So I got some Leo Chenal run defense snaps kind of loaded up for the Tell Truth tape of the week. And then I got his tackles at the end of this as well that I wanted to talk about too. But again, playing on the line of scrimmage as a force player, trying to stack things up, obviously making it difficult for any holes to be there on the left side. Jahmyr Gibbs bounces it to or technically on the right side. And then Jahmyr Gibbs bounces it to the left. Playing off here, taking on the right guard, being able to open up that hole for Nick Bolton to come through that gap, and then still playing it outside and keeping that leverage on that guard to make sure that he can't get outside. Really good play there from Leo Chenal for sure.
Yeah, I essentially think Leo might be one of the most underrated players in the league at this point in time. I don't. Yeah, a lot of people I think don't know his name and don't talk about him or whatever, but he makes such a huge impact for this defense at points in times, especially with his versatility and what Spags can do with him. Putting him in all sorts of positions on the edge, and there was a point where he played 3 tech.
Off ball right here. He literally does everything, bro.
He literally does everything. I think he's just one of those guys that
just a football player, man.
Just takes on every assignment that Spags throws at him, and man, he does it at such a high. I'm trying to think of the word. At a great level, for sure. I don't want to say elite level or anything like that. But,
he does a lot of things at a good level, for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Very solid across the board.
Yeah.
If you would have told me we keep Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery out the end zone, I would have called you a liar.
Yeah.
That was very shocking.
Even this year, I mean, Leo is very good at diagnosing these run lanes. So he's playing it.
Get over the top. Yep. No, he got a shader. Yep.
He's playing it into this gap, but then he feels that, hey, Montgomery's probably going to try it there. He doesn't want to get sealed inside by the climbing left guard. Gets all the way outside and is able to hit Montgomery there. I mean, he's such a good run defender, man. He's such a good run defender the way.
I think overall the unit, especially the run game, got better as the game kind of went on. That first drive was a little rough, and I think more solely just it seems like every Chiefs first drive is kind of rough, just because them trying to adjust and figure out everything. I know it's so hard to stop those first 15 plays because they're so scripted and ran so often or whatever. So you're gonna go to your bread and butter, especially on your first drive. But I think outside of that, man, the defense and as a whole locked in, majority for the whole full game, and got better as the game especially went on, and it was good to see. Jahmyr Gibbs not breaking one on us.
You know, Spags always used it like it uses those first few drives as a fact-finding mission. And the reality situation is, and we'll talk about this more, this is an offensive-led complementary football team. And if your offense is rolling like this offense is, you know that you can give a little bit early on if you feel comfortable for what it's going to look like on the back end for the defense, because you know you're going to put up a certain number of points going into the week. And that's a key thing for complementary football. But the Leo Chenal in like three steps just absolutely teleports from bad leverage against this climbing guard to the outside leverage needed to be able to make this play, man.
Yeah, he's so crazy,
he's such a good run defender, man. Chasing out the backside here, holding on for
his hand on him,
Montgomery. Yeah.
Yeah,
he got about on the edge, got him at the.
Yeah, kind of has that overhang Sam at that point too.
It's a special thing, man, to have him and Nick Bolton, especially for our run game. And I think even though it's not the best in the league, I think it at least helps us to be serviceable in that area of our defense.
Not a Leo specific snap here, but really good job by the outside of Derek Nottie being 5 yards behind. Really good job of the Chiefs kind of forming a wall here. Dana taking on 2 blockers, Chris Jones getting down the line, Tranquil coming in, McDuffie ready to fill as well. This is a really good job there, just making sure there's no real cutback lanes, and then you get it done front side as well versus Gibbs on that outside zone. That was a big thing of how they were going to be ready to defend the outside zone, and they did a good enough job, certainly to say the least, for what ended up happening.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is one of those backs. Like I said, you'll live with 4 or 5 yards from him. The thing you don't want from him is you don't want the 30, 40 yard.
Right.
Because he gets any open space. I love watching him because any open space for him, he is gone.
He reminds me of Jamal when he gets a crack and he sees it, he's out of there. So.
Leo plays the counter. He goes with the counter. What's it called? Action quickly here, and just comes back. Gets underneath that tight end, makes that play.
Terrible effort by Brock Wright. He didn't even try.
Yeah, Brock Wright.
He just said,
Brock Wright.
"Nah, I'm cool."
Right.
Brock Wright and Ratledge did not have a good snap there because that's really impressive. Honestly, it's almost more impressive by Bolton because he gets Ratledge and Brock Wright getting over, splits underneath them and makes the play with Leo Chenal. That was a really good play by both.
They both ended on the top of that play.
Yeah, that was a really good play by both of them there. Again, coming downhill, ends up getting washed out here. Karloff just laid on the backside because
he's playing whipping the glass now right there. Oh my God, put him on his lap, son. Get off me.
Was he was playing? Karloff just got frozen, right? So he's playing the backside boot.
Backside.
I think that's let me see. I would say that's probably the first mistake for Leo as far as the tape is concerned, because he over pursues a little bit. They do a good job with the climbing guard to make sure that he doesn't get there. And obviously Gibbs takes full advantage there, which Gibbs will.
Yep.
Anytime he sees
this is another thing. You gotta have your safeties willing to come up and make plays and hit. Great job by Christian Wallace to know that if this guy gets past me, he's gone.
Right. This is not an easy open field situation for the record. No. You're one-on-one with Jahmyr Gibbs. This is not easy. And Christian Wallace does a good job getting enough of them, and Watson helps him out. So that's a good shout out, DG. Again, stacking up the middle.
Much better job.
Jahmyr just kept fighting there.
Dude, I ain't gonna lie, man. I love watching him because that kid he's incredible, bro. Like the way he can cut back, run, and then once he gets in open field, he's you're not gonna get him down. Good luck catching him.
Yeah, no, you're not catching him for sure. You'd be lucky if you get down open field. Look at the trigger from Leo here.
Great initial win by Chris.
Chris does an awesome job there in his win. But the crazy thing is Leo almost beats him to the ball with how fast he got there.
Yeah, I gotta give 9-5 his credit too. I think he responded well to the criticism and noise this week too. He played a lot better.
And
show up for sure.
And I know a lot of people have been talking about him because of the effort on the last play, but he's been, and I know people have been also asking for more from him in the pass rush, which is a different conversation in my opinion. But he's been really good against the run for really the entirety of the year. I want to say that too. Again, Leo playing that Sam position, you're going to push them the tight end out of the way and still make that play on Jahmyr Gibbs on the edge. Just everywhere as far as this run defense is concerned.
Been a great run defense all year.
And then again, the maturation of Leo, understanding that, hey, some of these things are designed to get my eyes in the wrong place, that we're not going to overrun it. And I want to include these 2 tackles here because of plays that he made. Amon-Ra is going to come in motion off the play action pass boot, and he gets on his horse and takes a flat enough angle to go ahead and push him on out of bounds, short of the sticks because of the way in which he plays this. Obviously, recognizing it is one thing, but then having the athleticism to go down the line and not get beat by Amon, either juked inside or going outside, was a really important play for me to be able to show. Because it was impressive.
Yeah, very much so.
And then I just wanted to see what that ended up looking like. I just wanted to see what ended up happening here. They got a little bit of a Amon-Ra stop route. Goff hit a nice little window there.
Bread and butter play for him and Amon-Ra.
Anything under,
he's really good at
breaking in again.
Yeah. So that was the Leo Chenal plays. I was impressed by his effort and the effort overall, really, for the run defense, for what they were able to put on tape on a consistent basis, man. I thought they did a really good job.
I agree. Been a high standard for our run defense the last couple of years, and just to give people a reference of some numbers for running backs we went against this year, just some bigger names. Amarion Hampton, 40 yards. Saquon Barkley, 80 yards. Some of it's kind of cushioned. ETN, 40 yards. We saw Scatterboo, 60 yards. ETN, 40 yards. And then we held Gibbs to 60 and Dave Montgomery, 24. So most of the running backs we've seen this year, we've kept them either under their averages or keeping them from a big game, like DG said.
Haven't given up a 100-yard rusher, a single 100-yard rusher at least.
Keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stop the run, you get the rush to passer.
Mm-hmm. That's the name of the game. So moving on to the other side of the ball. Obviously, comes out Sunday morning, or maybe a little bit later into Sunday. This is right before the game. Josh Simmons is not going to ultimately play. He is going back to California. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But centerpiece of what this offense has been doing and the success that they've been having is the offensive line performance, and of course the ability to protect Patrick Mahomes. And Jaylon Moore was paid a lot of money. And a lot of people are like, did we spend the money the wrong place? Should we give it somewhere else? You pay him to be able to be the 6th offensive lineman to step in these situations. And he stepped in my opinion, and did nothing but play very well. He did exactly what he was supposed to. So I specifically got the matchups of him versus Aiden Hutchinson, and I figured that we could go through it just as a context of this. And then we could talk about some big picture offensive things. But like I just said, I mean, the 2 things that really stood out to me, especially watching him in preseason and what I expected to see, his comfortability taking more aggressive sets. And I'm glad that they're allowing him to do that as well, specifically so that he wants to play that way. It feels like it, even though he's not the elite mover with the athleticism that Josh Simmons brings to the table, it still allows the pocket to have breathability and space for Mahomes to be able to operate. And I think because of his aggressive sets and comfortability doing so, that really does matter for him. And you're going to see it throughout this tape in the way in which he attacks Aiden Hutchinson a lot on some of these snaps. And it's not necessarily perfect, but I think he did a really good job all night getting hands on him at a distance that he could recover when necessary, to be able to create that space for Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can clearly see Pat trusts this line this year. Even when there is pressure, and I look.
Yeah, I did want to say real quick. This was the one where he really got beat badly. Again, taking that aggressive set. But even still, sometimes,
even
if you lose, but the way you're losing, unlike Wanye Morris, who lost quick and allowed very quick pressure. Even still, at least this gives Patrick Mahomes full view to say, all right, no, well, let me go ahead and break the tackle and still get this ball to Hollywood Brown.
Patrick Mahomes things,
right? But that's a benefit at least of taking an aggressive set there. Go ahead, DG.
I just think that there's when you're facing a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, who's arguably you could consider probably going to be one of the top 5 edge rushers in this league. or whatever. What more can you ask from a backup guy? Like
Nothing
to
at
step
all.
in and take on that matchup, and there were points and times where he kept him at bay. You know, there are times where Aiden obviously is gonna win. Like it's Aiden Hutchinson. Like you gotta expect him to be able to do that. But I think last night proved he earned every bit of that. Not last night, Sunday night, he earned every bit of that contract that that people were so complaining about. Of why Brett Veach would do this or whatever. And I'm tired of y'all coming. Like I've said this before. I'm tired of y'all coming after Brett Veach, bro. And I understand there are some deals, yes, you don't get right. Right now, Christian Fulton probably looks like a bad deal or whatever. He has a lot more hits than he has misses.
Facts.
You know?
That's
I even if this is only Jaylon Moore's one lone start this year, who knows what's gonna happen with the Josh Simmons situation. The contract was worth it.
Absolutely.
Because now you solely get a guy who you can feel confident in. If we have an injury, somebody goes down, say Jawan Taylor can't play. He gets sick or something, or whatever. We got a guy we can move from left to right tackle and be comfortable with moving him and knowing that we can still execute our game plan. Shout out to Brett Veach and his staff once again for doing their jobs and bringing in guys that are versatile and know what they're doing and can play and give you comparable tackle play.
Absolutely. If you had came into the season and said, obviously, I think coming before this game, Jawan Taylor was top 5 in snaps at left tackle and right tackles with the least amount of sacks given up coming into the year. Obviously, Josh Simmons, and more so, the biggest guy I think that had the most pressure, DG, was Kingsley Suamataia. A lot of people thought he shouldn't even be a starter based off the way he played at left tackle. And for him to get this opportunity for what he's doing now, not only has he played good football for it, he's been playing amazing football for the level of run blocking, even more so in his pass pro. Him and Josh, obviously, it was going to be growing pains for them to get used to the position of being starters and being every game starters for us. They both have been dominant as far as run game. When we need to get behind them and get first down, they've done well. Josh has been damn near elite, arguably one of the best left tackles in football this year as far as pass pro. So if you get that comp play from him, it was a high bar for Jaylon to come into for Sunday night. And not only did he did that, he exceeded it. Outside of that one initial win from Aiden, didn't really hear his name too much from the broadcast from the game I watched. So if Jaylon Moore is going to go in there and play like that, DG, I'm not trying to troll. I think Jaylon Moore has probably been the best left tackle we've had, excluding Josh Simmons, since Eric Fisher. And that's kind of funny to say so, based on the way he's played. So if we would have had either one of these guys last year, it would have been a completely different story to 2024. Yes. And that's Super Bowl in New Orleans. So if this is the kind of play we're getting, Pat is obviously clearly comfortable. He's playing like an MVP again, doing all the numbers. We're scoring at a very high clip because we're comfortable what we can do not only in our effective run game, but what we can do in our passing game. This is the reason, like DG said, why you pay all these offensive linemen. So all of you radio heads and talk show hosts and social media clickers, like, were upset saying Trey Smith was overpaid, Jawan Taylor was a reach or an overpay, and Josh Simmons was a reach. And you can have all your concerns. This O-line has been arguably the best O-line in football this year. So I better see a lot of tweets. I better see a lot of flowers on that timeline because y'all had a whole lot to say in June and July. So just keep that same energy when they start playing well.
Yeah. And I'll say Kingsley looks a lot more comfortable as we go on game by game.
Let him play reps.
All you need is reps.
Let him play football. He was athletic for a tackle. He's incredibly athletic for a guard. Let him play football. I promise you he'll get better. And guess what he is? Getting better. Wait. Just like I told you guys. Everybody that wanted to cut him from the team last year, wanted to bench him during preseason, y'all ain't said nothing about him because he's played very well. I don't know. And this is so funny because, again, people compared it to Mike Caliendo, said that Caliendo should be in there. We never saw this level of play from Mike Caliendo. Never. Certainly not in the run game. And legitimately versus a really good defensive line in the Broncos, his only game that he's played at guard prior to this season, that was a full game that counted. He played well too. Yeah. So it was insane the panic to me during preseason and the offseason to act like this wasn't a guy that could kick in the guard and play well. And I'm not surprised they did at all. It's y'all that are surprised.
And the biggest one for me was And I know we have to have everybody can't be in agreement when they're talking about our contracts as far as guys getting paid, and we know Creed's been an All-Pro. But for the people, some of the people that were in Chief Kingdom that doubted Trey Smith getting his money, saying that was an overpay, he hasn't given up a sack this year. Knock on wood. So, and I know he had a weakness in pass pro last year, and obviously he's gotten better. But guys have proven worthy of the money. Obviously, we didn't want to see Joe Tooney go. That was a big loss. Yep. He's still playing great football for Chicago, obviously. Mm-hmm. But you have to move on and keep the younger player. And so far, Trey Smith's been a great investment. He hasn't given up any sacks this year, and we know how dominant he is in the run game. He gets a pancake almost every week. So if you're getting that play from right guard on the left side, and we'll see what we do at right tackle next year when we make the transition, this is the money that you made the investment for. This is clearly worth it, and then some. Because Mahomes is having an MVP season because of it. So these are the reasons you invest in that group, and you do it early.
Yes.
Look, if it was baseball, then you keep Joe Tooney. You can keep on these guys to pay him. No, this is a hard cap sport. You know what you do in football? You trade the guy that may be still elite while early at a lesser position. You trade him. You pay the guy that is really good and expect him to continue to get better and be young. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a situation in which your left guard is locked in for the next 3 years at a cheap price. Your center is locked in. Your right guard's locked in. Your right tackle, who is still playing great and obviously is benefiting from the competition, may end up leaving after this year. But you already got a right tackle or a backup left tackle that obviously stepped in well here. That's ready to slide over there next year. And Josh Simmons is locked in for the next 4 years at a cost control as well. All of a sudden, 4 out of your 5 spots are solidified for multiple years into the future with the way that you have built this offensive line. And I guarantee you, I promise you, the Bills have a really good offensive line. The Broncos have a really good offensive line. If you asked other GMs around the National Football League if they could take cheap left tackle, cheap left guard, locked in, and expensive center and expensive right guard with another 1 year of guaranteed right tackle play, you're not finding any other GM that's saying no to that as far as that is concerned. That's how well Brett Veach has handled the offensive line position. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I thought this was a really nice play by Jaylon Moore. So I've been down Aiden Hutchinson's initial punch and being able to keep his feet moving while doing so as well to make sure he pushed him off the arc. I just wanted to point out this rep specifically. And also shout out to Nohl Gray, man. Made a few catches and that was a really nice one too.
In the gameplay.
Yes.
So the Brett Veach haters, you played yourself.
I know everybody wants to be optimistic or pessimistic. Nobody wants to be the overly positive guy. But it's okay to be honest and let things play out. We don't always have to say it's not going to work out. Let things go and show themselves, and it's showing promise. And if there's any group that I would rather see you dump money into, DG, I would rather be the O-line, respectfully. So
you can never overinvest in offensive line.
Especially when you have that guy playing quarterback. Like, you should never, ever be upset about paying offensive linemen when you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback.
You ran out of tackles last year. You can never overinvest in it.
Well, they like looking at this, bro. They couldn't do this last year
at all.
They couldn't do this at all last year. You couldn't get this kind of, because you couldn't trust that left side of your line.
No, you couldn't. Let me get back to. I want to get to that play in a second here, but was that No, you could, and you could tell in the way, in my opinion, in the way that Patrick's operating. He trusts his offensive line to be able to make plays for him and keep him clean. I think that's just a big piece of it. And again, you run a little bit of RPO stuff, and Jaylon Moore can, again, his aggressive pass sets, I think, fits into that too, especially if Mahomes is getting the ball out quickly. So it all fit together. And I just wanted to put in those Aiden Hutchinson snaps. I think you say obviously one clear lost rep on the QB hit that was given up. He probably may have lost 1 or 2 outside of that, but for him to match up Aiden Hutchinson in that many reps and be able to put out that type of output, I was really impressed by Jaylon Moore's game, to say the least.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think you guys certainly agree as well. And given the fact it was short notice, go ahead, CJ.
No, the one point this was very annoying that I thought since week 1. We had 0 legal man downfield penalty, at least on our side of the ball. That was very good to see. That call is it's ticky tacky because they get a yard or 2 downfield across the line of scrimmage to not move. So for us to obviously correct a lot of mistakes that we've done over the last few weeks, that was the one I was probably one of the most proud of to see us get corrected, because that's a very annoying call because it takes explosive plays and points off the board. But it's just something so small, so minor that nobody really notices. For us to not have any of those, that was definitely attention to detail, and I'm proud of the O-line unit for that as well. Especially with a new starter in Jaylon.
And while we're here, 0 Jawan Taylor penalties for the 3rd straight week.
No.
And playing great Right tackle.
Keep it going. Keep it going, Jawan.
Maybe it was just one thing. And again, this is something that I pointed out. Tackles, offensive linemen in general, when you pay them at 25, they tend to get better. And maybe this is the year that is clicked into place for Jawan Taylor. And I'll be honest with you, Jawan Taylor's playing at a level that it's not, hey, do you cut Jawan Taylor at the end of this year? It's do you find an actual trade partner for Jawan Taylor at the end of this year? Because there ain't that many tackles out there. You telling me that there's not going to be a team out there that's going to say, hey, man, we need a right tackle badly.
Yeah.
Can we trade a 4th round pick for Jawan Taylor since they want to move on from him?
Absolutely.
I never really had it. I always thought he could play. The main issue was those penalties had to get cleaned up.
And whatever talent, it's just that.
Whatever come to Jesus moment he had with Andy Heck and Andy Reid, please continue to take heed to those words, because the last 3 weeks have been great, bro. Great. I'm okay with a penalty here and there. Honestly, I know it's gonna happen. It is what it is, man. Can't be perfect in this league or whatever, but I really think that these last 3 weeks, he's you can see it consciously in his mind that, hey, I can't continue to kill us on these drives or whatever with dumb, stupid mistakes.
Absolutely.
And he's lining up correctly.
Yes,
hey, didn't get any of those offsides as well. So lined up correctly.
Absolutely. So I did want to point this out because obviously there was a lot of talk for which a play that I didn't personally like, the Josh Hines Allen. No, I'm sorry. I want to start out with this one. This is the play action play where Aiden Hutchinson is going to get blocked by Noah Gray. The thing that I just wanted to point out here, I understand why people got on Andy Reid for this play call. I understand it. The idea of this play call is you run a play action to the left. You have Noah Gray come across the formation and block Aiden Hutchinson just to chip him for a long enough time for Mahomes to get this ball out in the play action concept. Now, the unfortunate thing, and I'll show it when we get to the top of the drop. When we get to the top of the drop for Patrick Mahomes, nobody ultimately is really open. Can he get this ball out to Xavier Worthy? Maybe, but he's still outside leverage. It's not really great. Nothing really to the bottom of the screen. Can you get it to Travis Kelce underneath? You could try. It'd probably end up breaking up, but that wouldn't necessarily work out. Thing I'll say is this: got to get the ball out. You have to get the ball out if you're Patrick Mahomes, because you know that the design of this play is to leave the edge one-on-one with the tight end. You can't just sit back there and pat the ball and do it that way, or you need to scramble, whichever way you wanted to handle it. You can't sit down and pat it, because eventually Noah Gray is going to get beat by Aiden Hutchinson. And obviously, fortunately for the Chiefs, it did not lead to an actual turnover. It was just a strip ultimately. But that's, to me, I know people were like, why is Noah Gray blocking Aiden Hutchinson? It's because it's the design of the play. Mahomes has to get the ball out of his hands. That's
I bet Noah went back to the bench like, don't run that play again. Or don't ever run that play again.
Speed it up a little quicker.
That's slow. That's slow. Oh Lord.
Yeah. Oh Lord. Yeah.
Aiden put that long arm into his chest, and it just didn't go well.
I was like, any day now, Pat. You know it any day now.
I said, yeah. That was definitely a choice right there.
But shout out to Noah for manning up and doing his assignment.
Yeah, shout out to Noah for at least trying, but bruh, don't ever, just scrap that play.
And the great thing is, Pat could have took off. He had a lane to the left. He could have easily yard. So
yeah, I think he was being a little greedy.
Yeah, he's trying to hold on to it, trying to have Noah hold on for dear life. It's like that Spider-Man meme when he's trying to stop the trains.
Yeah,
he's like holding on for everything. That's what he treated Noah Gray like right there. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was bad.
Rid of the ball. Pat.
Yeah,
shout out Noah though.
So the other one I wanted to show was ultimately an example of the difference in good design of being able to take advantage of an aggressive edge, but a really, really good edge. And then when you can leave the edge unblocked if you're running it to a side and when not to. So first one here is going to be a little bit RPO. They're going to run kind of an outside zone look to the right with Isaiah Pacheco on the run fake. They leave Hutchinson completely unblocked as Kelce goes all the way out into the motion. They throw it out here for the quick bubble to Brashard Smith, and ultimately that's a really good play for Brashard Smith as well to get involved into. So there it doesn't matter because your two options are to the perimeter, away from whatever the edge is doing. It's not that big of a deal. Last week, they ran the Xavier Worthy pop pass that involved Josh Hines Island side. And sometimes there's not audibles necessarily built into these things. Right. But in my personal opinion, if you're going to run an unblocked pop pass to the side of the best edge on the other team, that's not something I'm comfortable with. That's probably not going to end all that well, because those guys, Aiden Hutchinson, Mac Crosby, Josh Hines-Allen, Myles Garrett, those guys are at such a high level of playing the game, and with their athleticism and their mind, you don't want to tempt fate with the way that they can do it. And ultimately, this is going to lead to a 6-yard loss. I believe that those guys are smart enough to be able to sniff those things out on a consistent basis. But what you run last night, necessarily not at Aiden Hutchinson to his side, the Hollywood Brown jet sweep quickly as he runs the kind of outside in motion, and you get the edge unblocked, but the edge is lost. And again, when you're not dealing with one of the best edges in the National Football League, you can tempt fate a little bit by doing so and believe that you can beat them on the misdirection. But I just don't like doing it at the elite edges. They get him here. There's Muhammad, who's played pretty solidly, but still is not obviously Aiden Hutchinson or Josh Hines-Allen, and they get Hollywood Brown for the touchdown. So I think those are two things that I wanted to point out as far as the intricacies as far as offensive design. A, that it's not Noah Gray's fault that he's blocking Aiden Hutchinson, and Patrick Mahomes needs to get the ball out. That doesn't make it a bad play call. And B, if you're going to run those little jet sweep passes and leave the edges unblocked, make sure that it's not at the elite edges. And if you are going to leave the edge unblocked, make sure it's an RPO that's going to get to the perimeter on either side that doesn't really put them into the conflict of the play. With that being said, that was the Jaylon Moore portion of the offensive review. Do you guys have any big picture offensive things? Obviously, a great offensive performance, the way in which they're able to attack the lines. We talked about how being able to stretch things vertically. Actually, I'll just pull up the play. But any big piece, any big picture things for you guys as far as the offense is concerned?
I'm just glad to see the offense back humming again, man. Seeing 30 back-to-back weeks, man, something we haven't seen in a while. It's definitely been a revelation to see again too.
Some unsung heroes will probably be like Tyquan Thornton doing his job, taking the top off. I know there were some people who were responding to some clips that I posted saying, why wasn't he involved? I'm like, hey, when teams know you've been averaging over 20 yards a catch for the last 3 weeks, and you know they got some backups in there, they're going to do their job and play a lot of 2 deep, cover 4, cover 6, and making sure we're not going to let you beat us over the top. So that's why you had Hollywood with a big game. Obviously, you saw that play in the red zone where Travis Kelce's drawing coverage and Tyquan Thornton pushing the safeties downfield, and Hollywood and Xavier Worthy are able to make plays down there along with Juju. So when guys are being unselfish, along with what we just talked about Juju blocking, Tyquan Thornton running a lot of his routes hard, pushing the safeties downfield, allows guys like Hollywood, Travis Kelce, Juju, our slower, more in the middle of the field players to get there and get their yards out the catch, more importantly. So that's another thing that I think Tyquan deserves his flowers for as well.
Yeah, and I'll say real quick, Tyquan Thornton, Xavier Worthy, top and bottom of the screen here, they're running a quarters coverage, and by the time that Mahomes, gets to the top of the drop here, he's going to end up, obviously, and Aiden Hutchinson is going to create pressure, but these guys are 30, 40 yards downfield because they're that afraid of Tyquan Thornton and Xavier Worthy, and that's where having Tyquan Thornton really pays dividends, even though obviously he didn't make a catch, doesn't have the box score stats impact. His ability to be a deep threat frees up Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy to do other things. And then in addition, make sure that he is respected by the other team to make those plays when necessary. Exactly. And it's really important. And obviously it leads to the Hollywood Brown underneath that has plenty of space here to be able to catch this ball off after Patrick Mahomes makes Aiden Hutchinson miss. So, yeah, definitely a good shout out too. DG, anything specifically from you?
Yeah, man, just the way that the guys outside of the arguably the top 2 in the receivers, and Xavier and RASHEE, the way that they've played these last couple of weeks, Hollywood Brown, to me, in my opinion, is probably playing some of the best ball we've seen him play in a long time. His spatial awareness on the field, some of the sideline catches that he's
had the last 2 weeks,
like it's been phenomenal to see, and I think he's getting a lot more comfortable with Pat. You can clearly see coming back for this second year, that chemistry and relationship is starting to grow a lot more. So shout out to those guys, man. Him, Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster, even Brashard Smith getting involved in the receiving game, taking some of those bubble screens and things like that, and Andy and them giving him that chance and opportunity to use his speed and get up the field. It's become a great part of what I feel like is the extension of the run game. in my opinion, and being able to use him and get him on the field somehow, some way. So, all the guys that are, the unsung heroes underneath, the top guys have just been playing well. And I think, man, I want to say this too. The Yeti is still the Yeti.
Yeah,
he may not be.
We got a vintage Kelsey.
That was a class.
Yeah, he may not be the former Yeti that we know, but the Yeti is still the Yeti, man. That guy, no.
Got his head around.
You can just tell, man. Him and Pat are this.
They see everything.
Their chemistry is so elite. I feel like they're probably the same person on the field. They're so in each other's heads that I don't know how to really explain it, man. And that throw, like Pat just does.
The
throw is. Sorry, go ahead, CJ.
No, and I know a lot of the things that obviously playing tight end in college and professionally, I was proud of Trav for correcting himself, because the biggest mistake that I think he made that we all were clamoring about during the Eagles game was he didn't get his head around, and he's ran that angle route in the red zone 50,000 times. Like, that's his bread and butter play. So obviously, a lot of these routes, a lot of these concepts that DG just said that Mahomes sees, he's anticipating the defender to not be looking for a certain second in a window. And this route is indicative of that exact same type of play. He's going to run plays. I think that's Jack Campbell, the linebacker there. And before he even clears the defender, Pat's already releasing the ball, because he knows that time that the defender's taking his moment to jam you, he's not looking at the ball or the quarterback anymore. He's focused on you. So by the time he does that, now I can release the ball. He can't get his hand over the play, and then Kelsey has to snap his head around. Keyword, snapping your head around very quickly allows you to put your eyes back on the ball and helps you make a play. So these are just little things that I think Kelsey was, rightfully so, that DMac and DG were frustrated with the first 2 weeks, because he usually doesn't make mistakes like that. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the best we've ever seen play the position. He doesn't do those little critical things that he's been doing his whole life or his whole career here in Kansas City. So for him to get back and have a classic Travis game, I was very proud of him for going out there and doing his job and being leaned on more, because I honestly didn't expect him to have that many targets, fellas. I thought this was going to be a big Worthy game. So for him to go out there and dominate the middle of the field, that was a classic Kelsey game, like DG just said.
I really liked the aspect of attacking their linebackers. We'll talk about the run game in a little bit as far as this is concerned, but this was a little bit of shades of the Buffalo, AFC Championship game in 2023 Buffalo too. Yep. The ability to get these guys in the 12 personnel set that kind of puts the linebackers in conflict, get the pistol play action that moves the linebackers up as well. And again, gets their eyes on Travis Kelce as he tries to jam him ultimately. And Mahomes just a perfect throw. And we can't show the angle that the Chiefs showed, obviously from that standpoint, but it was gorgeous.
It's gone before he even looks. It's so beautiful. Perfect time.
It's a beautiful throw by Patrick Mahomes as well.
He does.
The other thing, go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, he does. There's one, like, every time you watch a game, and I know people out there that they're haters.
As expected.
There are points in times where you'll watch him, bro, as a fan, and you'll just be like, there's nobody else in this league that can do that. Pat is just
next to Lions fans. They said that exact same thing. They're like, bro, that's the best in the world. Nobody else does that.
He's just one of one, and he makes a play almost every game that you just like, how did he do that? And I know as a defensive player, it has to be the most frustrating thing in the world, just because there's nothing you can do. Like Jack Campbell, all credit to you, bro.
There's nothing
you can do in that spot, bro.
A perfect throw beats great coverage every day of the week, too.
Yep. DG, I know you asked for the Xavier, not the Xavier, the Hollywood Brown targets, and that yes. I was remiss in not being able to get that before, but I figured that we could throw it on the screen if there was something specifically you wanted to talk about. That was a really nice route there, bottom of the screen, working there against Rock Ya-Sin.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak his spatial awareness. You can clearly tell there are times I think he's still trying to figure and pick up this offense, but you can see that him and Pat's chemistry is definitely starting to grow. Pat trusts him on certain plays, and then I just think Hollywood Brown just does a good job. He's just a football player, man. Like I know that sounds so cliche or whatever, but like you can clearly see that he's gonna make plays. He's a playmaker. Um, and just sometimes just throw him the ball. Like if he's open, just get it to him. You know.
Two
And
great
I
weeks
think
with two great sideline catches.
yeah, I think it's been a tremendous help, especially this year of having him healthy, especially when we get to this red zone area and being able to utilize him in spots like this or whatever, where we don't have to put so much on an Xavier Worthy to do these kinds of things, that he can take some of that pressure off of X and be able to do some of these similar things. And then this is I think this play is more about the Yeti being the Yeti. There's three guys. Watch three guys go with Travis Kelce. So don't sit
Safety,
here and tell me
backer, other safety.
Yeah, a lot of people want to sit here and say that he's washed. Yeah, it's him.
And 36-year-old in 2025 sure look washed to me. That's what they thought. 6 eyes were on him, and nobody covering Hollywood Brown. Looks washed for sure. And Travis Kelce.
Hey, look at Trav knows it too.
He knew he was going to be open. He's like, "Oh, y'all over here? Well, somebody's open."
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you did ask for that. But I did want to specify, like you said, just a football player, and the ways in which Hollywood Brown, I think, has expanded his game and showed a lot of maturity at that position has been really impressive to see this year as well. And he has been the wide receiver that I expected, and probably better in a lot of ways, a little small ways than I expected when we signed him. And I was really excited for that last year. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see that for the majority of the year. But now, of course, we are seeing it today. I think, let me double check. It was off such a big picture. So oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So the other aspect of it, and we won't show any specific tape as far as that's concerned, but I did want to point out some of the under center stuff that we talked about. Obviously, we highlighted it last week. I went through and saw it over the last 3 weeks. The Chiefs have won for 161 yards. They've had Patrick Mahomes under center for those 24 runs, 6.7 yards a carry. And some of that is, some explosive plays. Some of that is some jet sweeps, obviously, but the ability to get under center and put the defense into conflict has helped so much for this offense. And Ted Nugent over at The Athletic had a great film room article speaking about what's helped as far as the Chiefs offense is concerned. And he put out Isaiah Pacheco's rushing splits, which under center, he's averaging 5.2 yards per carry. He's averaging 3.6 out of shotgun. He has a 45% success rate under center. For those that don't know, 42% is about league average. 32% out of shotgun. Yards per forward contact per rush, he's at 2.4 under center, 0.87 out of shotgun, and then yards per carry yards after contact per rush, 2.75 under center and 2.71 from the shotgun. It's just the momentum that he can gain going downhill from under center just helps so much with the angles. It helps so much with the design of the run game as well for the offensive line to have those advantages. It is incredibly vital that they continue to have under center be a feature of this offense on a consistent basis.
Yeah. I think that they're figuring out the roles. The roles are definitely being decided on who's going to do what, and I think that's helping out with the run game a lot.
I did want to look up the snap counts real quick. I believe that it came out that Pacheco had 74% of the early down Chiefs snap counts, but I'm not sure if I'm making that number up. But I want to double check specifically what his ultimate snap count was, because obviously we saw Kareem Hunt out there for a good bit, all things considered anyway. But they had Kareem Hunt was out there for 19 snaps, 30% of them. Isaiah Pacheco was out there for 49, 77%, which I think, and again, people may disagree with this, I think is a split that makes sense. And I know Brashard Smith only got 6. Can you use more of him there? Sure. I could understand wanting to cook that up a little bit. I'm not going to say that I would be opposed to that, but I do think that this is a good split of having Pacheco as the 1A back, Kareem Hunt as the short yardage, a little bit of third down when needed, Brashard Smith being able to bring that explosive element. And I'd like him to get a little bit more third down snaps as well as we go along too. That's the roles that I think make sense. And if you're going to run the ball under center, and it obviously involved the play action pass included in that, then that increases the effectiveness of Isaiah Pacheco in this run game. So I think that's a big thing to point out. And then last big picture thing, Chiefs in the past 3 weeks, 31 points per game, first in success rate, only 11th in explosive play weight, but they don't need to be a top 5 explosive play offense. They just need to have that element back at a solid enough clip, which obviously they have. And we've seen the results come out the last few weeks as far as the offense is concerned. Anything else, guys, big picture wise to point out?
Nah, man, just keep rolling, man.
Keep it going. Got a lot of good matchups the next 3 weeks. You got the Raiders defense, the Commander defense, and the Bills defense. After what we saw last night, going into the bye, we should be, if we're averaging what you said, 31 points the last 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. I would love to see what that number looks like after we go into the bye. So
yeah, I'm all on them.
That should be a good fun weeks again the next 3 weeks, especially with RASHEE coming back as well. So.
And just as you were about to say that, I was going to put it up on the screen. By the way, Fahrenheit 451, baby, coming back soon.
Here, baby.
We'll talk about RASHEE Rice in a little bit. I promise you. We're gonna get to it. I promise, guys. The last thing before we turn the page, or a little bit honestly, as we look in the middle here, as we look at the week ahead. Josh Simmons. So earlier today, and Nate Taylor did go on. Obviously, only group games that kind of talked about his. I don't want to necessarily say viewpoint, or some of the calls that he's made to people within the Chiefs organization. And he said basically that the Chiefs still don't know when Josh Simmons will return. And he said that it wouldn't be a surprise that Jaylon Moore, if Jaylon Moore starts at left tackle again on Sunday versus the Raiders. He also went on to mention that it's not necessarily a situation in which Andy Reid wants to talk about, which was evident in the press conference earlier today. It's not something that's really been solidified as far as what is the reason why. Also, it seems like seems like Josh Simmons left a little bit earlier into Sunday than it had been led on, in that they had the early Sunday morning walkthrough and he just wasn't there for that. So obviously whatever is going on, prayers to Josh Simmons, prayers to his family. Hope everybody is healthy and safe. We'll see what ends up happening when he gets back. The thing that I interpret of what Nate Taylor said, I would expect Jaylon Moore to be starting at left tackle, even if Josh Simmons comes back this week. And I say that because they don't expect him to practice tomorrow. They haven't heard anything, or they're not letting on that they have heard anything. I would be surprised if he ends up starting based on that circumstances being here on Tuesday. So that's the update.
As you should. After the way Jaylon Moore played, there's no reason to pull him. So let Josh get back and get his win back, get back in shape, and get ready to go next week if we have to.
To me, I will say this. I don't think it's necessarily a shape issue. Like, I feel like if Josh Simmons had to play on Sunday, he's probably in shape, ready to do so.
Yeah.
I just, given the fact that you left on Sunday to what it appears, and nobody really knows what happened, and you just left it with no notice, and now you're not back by Tuesday of the next week, I'd be surprised if he starts, even if he is back. Exactly. But that's something just to keep in mind as well for this upcoming week as far as the Raiders are concerned. So we now talk about, obviously, that Raiders game. Raiders are a team that is struggling on both sides of the ball. Geno Smith leads the league in interceptions.
Say that again.
Geno Smith leads the league in interceptions.
DD, pull that ticket up right now. Show the slip. Show the slip. DD. Show the country what we tried to tell y'all all summer. What was going
Hold on. Hold
on a second.
Give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up.
While he is pulling up, Brock Bowers. Oh God, we're three of them things, ain't he? Brock Bowers is unlikely to play in this Week 7 game. Michael Mayer, not Michael Myers. We're close to Halloween. We're not that close. We're close. We're not that close. Michael Mayer did play all right, I would say, in his first game versus the Titans. So we'll see how that ends up working out as well. The offensive line that hasn't been great. I would say that struggled specifically last week versus Jeffrey Simmons as well. And then the defense has been poor, to say the least.
How many picks is that, DMac? Could you read that for me, please?
Oh, my God. You took him at over 10. He was at 10.5?
And he's about to clear it before half the season, DMac. What are we talking about?
That's money.
That was free money, boy. Oh, my God. 10.5? Man, you could have taken for 14.5.
Me and CJ was trying to cover that ticket, and I think Geno was like one of the last. I said, Geno? I said, Geno, question mark. And DJ sent me back. He texted me back within a second and said, absolutely.
Adam
No
on
doubt.
Never a doubt.
That is very funny, man.
Thank you, Gino. You feed the hood, baby. We appreciate you.
There you go. So like I said, Gino struggling, no Brock Bowers. Ashton Jennings starting to find his stride. I will say that certainly. And they had a solid enough game in a win versus the Titans, who were obviously just fired their coach. Did struggle versus Jeffrey Simmons. Other side of the ball, Max Crosby is awesome. Rest of the defense is bad. So that's kind of the summary of what the Raiders have looked like to this point. Obviously, the Chiefs, feel like they have a lot of advantages across the board as far as the Raiders are concerned. To me, this is really just, hey, if you take care of your business as far as not allowing Max Crosby to beat you, then you're in a good position. The way in which this Raiders offense is run, bring a similar level of run defense that you did versus the Lions, and I think you'll be in a good position to force Geno Smith to drop back. You should be able to force a mistake or two from that aspect too. Obviously, they've got some interesting wide receivers, but nothing that should scare you to have to death, in my personal opinion, even for as well as Jacoby Myers played in that matchup on Black Friday last year. In my viewpoint is this simple. Hey, man, go out here, defend the run well, get into true drop back situations. You're going to have advantages from there on the offense, or I should say on the offensive side of the ball. Make sure Max Crosby doesn't kill you. That's really what it comes down to for me.
Right.
Yeah. The game
plan. Great matchup. No Brock Bowers. Jacoby Myers isn't having the best year as much as we thought he would. Obviously, you don't have your guy out there dictating coverage, but with Brock being out there, Gentry's been a solid back, but no clear lanes. And Geno Smith's been turning it over like hot candy. Been Oprah Winfrey out there. You get a pick. You get a pick. I took this prop earlier. This is probably a degenerate bet, but I don't think so based off the numbers that DG just said. Chiefs defense or special teams touchdown this week. And I think P-Mac's going to talk about it on his Magruder File show on Friday about the special teams lack of the Raiders. A Chiefs defense or special team touchdown is plus 450 if you want to go take that. So that's a bet I would definitely put some money on. I can see us getting a pick six or a punt return, kick return touchdown this week.
It's a good shout out, and it's a really good shout out because and again, like you said, P-Mac's definitely going to talk about this on his files on Friday. I felt like Brashard Smith and Nico Remigio have been very close on kickoff and punt returns to being able to break one. I think that there will be times in which the Raiders will punt the ball. And I think that there will obviously be the opportunities for this Chiefs offense to put up points on the board. So they should be kicking off a lot, or hopefully not allowing too much, I guess, from that perspective. But I do think that they're going to end up breaking one at some point. And I think versus this Raiders team, which I will look up their DVOA real quick as far as what they rank as far as special teams is concerned, there's going to be some real opportunities to be able to get after them in multiple different ways, but certainly in that aspect, as far as that is concerned, the Raiders are sixth worst in DVOA giving up on special teams. So there's some interesting aspects. Chiefs have matchup advantages across the board. Let's quickly get to the trifecta and X Factor and game picks. And we'll go ahead and get to some around the NFL things, and then we got the Rasheed Rice aspect of it. Tell us who trifecta. Where are you guys going?
Pat, two touchdowns, easy. I really want to do three and do a
Pat TDs, DG.
I'm gonna do two.
Geno Smith, anytime interception. You're getting it this week. Somehow, some way, you're gonna get a Geno Smith. Lock it in.
I'm not mad at that at all. That's funny. I'm taking Rasheed Rice. Rasheed Rice touchdown.
Yeah.
Rasheed Rice touchdown. Patrick Mahomes over two, or at least two touchdowns. DG Geno Smith at anytime interception. Charles True trifecta.
I like this one.
Make yourself somebody, baby. X Factor and game picks. X Factor and game picks for you guys for the Raiders.
X Factor. I think it's what P-Mac will probably speak to on his podcast on Friday. The special teams this week. Just taking advantage of that matchup with how badly the Raiders special teams is played. I think that could be a huge X factor. I'd love to see Brashard Smith in the return game if that's possible this week to get some of those. We've seen how well he did in Jacksonville, getting some of those return efforts, or Nico Remigio as well too. This is your week. Hopefully there's some open lanes there and you get one of those special teams touchdown or something like that. So I think that could be a big X factor for them. Chiefs win, man. Chiefs win. That's all I'm gonna say. Just beat the Raiders, dog.
Always got to beat the Raiders.
Beat the dog piss out of them.
No, I think the spread right now in that game is 11.5. So league's kind of tell you how they feel about the Raiders. I know it's a rivalry game, but this is a bad football team, so you should go out there and make a bad football team look bad. So my X factor, I'm gonna go George. I think George gets a sack or two this game. They've been blocking obviously pretty well. Gino's been giving up the goods this week, so I think he sees ghosts. Arrowhead gets rocked, and I think George definitely gets a couple sacks, or gets to the quarterback at least a couple times this week, as we wanted him to break out. And my hot take was that he would break his record of sacks, so I need him to get going and pick it up. So this is a good week for him to do so. So that's my X factor. And my game pick, obviously Chiefs win. I think we covered the spread. I'm gonna got to revenge that loss from Christmas. Rashee's back. Let's go big, fellas. Chiefs 40, Raiders 13.
We can get a Gardner Minshew garbage time touchdown, man. A little revenge game for him versus the Raiders. I'd love to see it.
Gardner playing.
I'm gonna go 38-13 Chiefs. And I will.
I want to blow out so bad. I want to blow them out so badly.
Get 40 for 4, man. Come on.
Badly. I want to blow them out, and I can't wait to have DD come in here and just be sad. And he's not going to come in here because he's scared. But
I can hear it
now. X Factor, I will actually go along the defensive line. I'm going with Omar Norman. Look, you could pick your poison. Everybody's going to eat on Sunday, in my opinion.
You get a pick.
And Omar Norman, I think that has a mismatch. He's going to get singled up a lot as far as the attention that Chris Jones is going to demand. Both of them running the pass is going to be an important game for him to be able to show up. So that'll be my X factor ultimately is Omar Norman. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to some stuff around the league as far as Tell the Truth Power rankings are concerned. Last week, the Lions were the number one team. Obviously, they're not going to be the number one team. As far as teams that you could possibly go in there, Packers did get a win. Rams struggled in their win over the Ravens. Buccaneers got a huge win, obviously on the road against or was it on the road? I can't remember. It was by double digits against the Niners at home. Colts won again, and honestly, the way they struggled versus the Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals was kind of ugly. Seahawks won on the road, and we beat Jacksonville, and obviously we beat the Lions. Do you guys have a number one team for you guys sitting here?
Bucks.
Damn Bucks.
Deny it, especially with all the injuries still happening.
They finding ways to win. Can't be mad at them.
Another 4-1 team.
I think it's us or them, honestly. I think we probably had two of the better wins of the weekend. I wouldn't be mad if it's us, but I like the Bucks too.
Do you want to go Bucks Chiefs 1-2?
That's cool.
Okay. 3, like I said, Packers Lions. Eagles had the Thursday night football loss. Colts barely won over the Cardinals. Seahawks on the road to the Jaguars. Steelers.
I think you can move the Patriots up too.
You want Patriots up to 3?
I mean, they beat the Bills, then you follow up and beat the Saints. I mean,
I'm just asking. I don't know.
But
like
3 is kind of that's
4-ish, 5-ish. 5-ish.
What are their wins this year? They beat the Patriots. They beat the Steelers at home. They beat the Saints.
Yeah.
You talking about the Patriots or the Bills?
The Patriots, their win so far.
Yeah, they beat obviously the Bills on the road. They just beat the Saints. They also beat they lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Raiders. They beat the Dolphins on the road, and they killed the Panthers at home.
Yeah. Oh, that's a little rich for me, DG. I don't know. The Bills win was a good dub, though. It was a good win.
Me personally, I would have the Packers next, but we've seen them be up and down too, which I understand. The Colts, even though it was an ugly game, you could maybe give them a shout out, but
I'm cool.
Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks on the road at the Jacksonville Jaguars was an impressive win. I could see rewarding them too.
Yeah, they went down there and got a dub. That's the way their defense has been playing. They've been giving it up.
All right, we'll go Seahawks, Packers, Colts to round out the top 5. I think if we want to put the Pats at 6, I think that's fair.
I think the Lions to still be in there. I don't think the losing to us was such a horrible.
They should still be able to definitely still a top 10 team for sure.
Yeah, we'll put I definitely like the Lions at 7. So some leftover teams. Now you're talking about Eagles, Bills, Steelers, Rams. We got 3 spots
I
left.
put the Rams right here.
Rams,
Okay.
even though it's sloppy win over Baltimore.
Ravens.
Yeah.
All right, we got Bills, Steelers, Broncos. I'm sorry, that game was so ugly versus the Jets. Falcons,
Lord,
obviously big. Falcons obviously got a big win versus the Bills last night.
So I'd say Steelers.
I mean, they won the Browns, but they won.
Yeah, but I would say at least they controlled that game.
Yeah, they were pretty much dominating.
You gotta beat your division, so you only play who's in front.
Let's see. Eagles, Bills, Falcons, Broncos for the last spot.
Eagles look so bad. Broncos look terrible, but they won. Falcons that was a great win. They dominated the Bills from like start to finish.
I had to say Falcons.
I was gonna say after the way they played.
Okay.
Eagles and Bills. Those were disgusting.
They look bad while they did it too. It's like losing is cool, but it's like, geez.
Damn.
Right.
Look.
Top 10 in the power rankings. We're gonna go Bucks, Chiefs, Seahawks, Packers, Colts, Pats, Lions, Rams, Steelers, and Falcons to round it out. Anybody that we have to lay a rest? I kind of just want to.
Indeed. Go ahead. No, I said indeed.
Oh, indeed. Anybody that you guys want to lay the rest? I kind of want to lay the rest of the National Football League to rest, considering the fact they allowed us to go 500 without RASHEE Rice, and now he's back. But do you guys have anybody that you want to lay to rest?
I got 2.
Okay. Justin Fields, Jesus Christ, son. Making the passing yards. When the last time that ever happened? He got the rest, bro.
I put the rest, Aaron Glenn. It gave you life.
The OC for the Jets, you get life too.
Brian Callahan, they gave you life. Fight.
You and your daddy. Both
out of there. Cooked. Roasted. Yeah, I did put the I'm not gonna lie. The NFL, please, bro, stop sending the Jets to London. Stop
putting them on primetime. Period.
Like I don't even know why Why would you do that to our international fans, man?
You made them sit out there and watch that shit.
13 to 11. Listen, this you don't know how bad this game was. The last 2 overseas games, I've stayed at home and watched. And this is how I know God is real. God told me, go to church, son. Go to church, son. Go to church, son. Listen to the word. Get the word in you, because this football game today,
not worth it.
It ain't worth staying home and watching.
Imagine spending money to fly out there and watch that for either team. Boy, I would ask for a refund immediately.
Listen,
this is not the experience I wanted.
Me and my wife went to eat after church to get some late breakfast, brunch, or whatever. I looked at the score and I said, "You have got to be joking." And then I seen Justin Fields pass for 48 yards.
Terrible.
I said, "Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?"
It looked fake.
Yeah, bro. Look, I understand the NFL is trying to expand their horizons and get this international crowd really involved. Stop. You got to stop sending these bad teams over there, man. Please do our international fans a favor and give them a lot more entertaining games, because that was horrible. But yeah, London games, Aaron Glenn and Brian Callahan, they gave you life. Lay to rest.
Lay the rest. Sayonara, man. They gave you life.
Sayonara.
That was one of the ugliest 2-minute situations I've ever seen in my life.
You get put to rest too, you buster. Don't think I forgot. You got Brian Brand, you definitely get put to rest. Enjoy that week off. I hope you lose your game check too. We continue.
No, keep going.
Shut up. You disrespected every Bama player.
You took my lunch money.
You said that, and you play under Saban, bro. That's so embarrassing for you to say some stupid shit like that. Like, bro,
I know Nick was at home like, oh my
what
God.
you just say? He would never let somebody talk like that at Bama ever.
I'm so glad you said that, CJ. We are laying to rest the idea that the Lions are the big bag bully on the block, man. Brian Branch forfeited that for y'all. Sayonara.
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 They gave your life.
Your smart, big enough reputation, Detroit Lions, gave that up. When y'all was scrolling through, posting AI stuff about the refs because you lost by that many points and you couldn't fight on the field, so you had to fight after.
Terry and Arnold, too. You weren't even on the field,
you ain't playing.
Boy. You're not even playing.
You lined your own mans up by doing that. You lined your entire secondary up, acted like you was big, bad, and tough.
He acted like him being on the field was gonna make a difference.
When the Lions fans themselves didn't want to have him on the field.
What were you gonna do?
Nothing.
Would have been the same result, son. What you talking?
The Lions fans themselves ain't want to have him on the field, man. And now all of a sudden you want to act bad. Yeah, okay. I wish you the best of luck with that. We're not going to go through all of these. We can if we want to, but I just wanted to end off by saying this. Obviously, EG himself is going to be returning, and I did want to give at least a little bit of a sample to remind folks of what the Chiefs are getting back here with RASHEE Rice in this offense. And there's actually a full film review up on Kingdom Cast that we did last season of his game versus the Falcons and how they were using him specifically. But I did just want to ask you guys, like, how excited are you to have RASHEE Rice back?
Back. Bro.
I'm betting Pat 3-4 passing touchdowns on Sunday. I'm telling you that right now. That shit about to cash. And 2 of them probably going to RASHEE. I already bet 2+ touchdowns at plus 1,000 for RASHEE. So if y'all want to go lock it in before it gets juiced,
I've kind of been said, obviously Travis Kelce's career is going to come to an end, and it's going to be a great career, first ballot Hall of Famer. RASHEE Rice is in line to be that guy after him. I truly think that him and Pat's connection and chemistry is going to grow over the years, and that's going to end up being his go-to guy for the foreseeable future. Ford coming back into his offense just opens up so much for them, especially over the middle of the field. Gives them a bigger body to target, especially in the red zone. If we see any glimpse of that back shoulder fade that we saw in preseason, a lot of teams better watch out. And I know a lot of people have probably been thinking like, you guys have been talking about RASHEE and like, just watch the tape. Just watch the tape, especially last year through the first 3 weeks of what him and Pat were doing together. They were set to really have a phenomenal year together, even with how bad the offensive line was last year. Ford coming back, man, gives this receiving room a plethora of weapons really to go to, and I mean, it's just gonna be. I can't wait till Sunday.
That ATD about to hit like crack, boy.
RASHEE Rice was averaging 3.6 yards per route run last year. For those, just obviously Jamar Chase in his triple count season averaged 2.7 yards per route run at the end of the season. RASHEE Rice was on an elite pace to begin last year. He was awesome. And, as somebody that was extremely excited for him during the pre-draft process and the fact that he took a visit and was really happy that he ended up getting selected, he has even exceeded my expectations because I thought that he was more of a high-end 2 guy as far as the wide receiver position was concerned. But to DG's point, I do believe he is the guy that succeeds Travis Kelce as the number 1 target in the offense, a guy that can beat man, that can beat zone coverage. He got better at beating man coverage to begin last year. And one specific thing that I want to bring up too, RASHEE Rice and his ability to beat zone coverage in a world in which obviously defenses are trying to limit the explosive plays in this way. You see guys like Emeka Egbuka, you see guys like JSN, you see guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, those guys and Puka Nacua as well. The guys that were really smart and heady and understanding to play with a physicality versus zone coverage, and then also being able to expand their game versus man coverage. those are the guys that are really being able to dominate these defenses because of the ways in which they play and play these modern offenses. RASHEE Rice is built in that mold to be able to develop from that standpoint. And to have him back in this offense, not just for what the individual talent he is and what he's shown, whether it is here during this playoff run specifically. And for those that don't know, these are all 26 of his record-setting catches during our playoff run during the 2023 Super Bowl championship back-to-back. And obviously last year, whether it was an awesome opening night versus the Ravens or, versus the Falcons, in which he had a great game as well. He shows that ability to beat zone coverage on a consistent basis and then also expand his game versus man. And what his individual talent is now adding back into an offense that is already one of the best in the National Football League. It has shown that the offensive line is giving Patrick Mahomes all the time in the world needed to be able to deliver the football, and now has the weapons surrounding him, where you have obviously Xavier Worthy, who's a big speed threat, but obviously a versatile wide receiver. Hollywood Brown, who we've shown has a well-rounded game now and can beat you down the field. In addition to that, Tyquan Thornton, who's such a deep threat that creates all of that room for these guys to operate underneath. We've seen the fruits of that be able to bear out for Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce earlier in the season. Now the fact that RASHEE Rice gets to operate in that space, it's going to be so fun to watch, man. So I am extremely excited to have RASHEE Rice back for this team. And I think we're getting to the end here. I wanted to make sure that I fast forward to the Super Bowl catch so we can end it off there. But yeah, man, take whatever you want to as far as RASHEE Rice is concerned, dog, because he's gonna make a lot of catches as well. Where was it? It was this one, right? It's the last one, yeah.
You know, can I just say before we end, like, when I knew RASHEE was gonna be the guy moving forward, this game right here comes off the field, and he is in Pat's grill.
Don't
throw me the ball.
I'm open.
And Pat literally had to tell him, like, look,
chill.
Look,
he rolled the snap to me.
Yeah, the snap was short.
Up.
I couldn't get the ball to you or whatever. But I was like, I need crash outs and dogs like that in this offense. Get me the ball. And I ever since then, I knew RASHEE was definitely going to be the guy moving forward. So glad to see Ford back. Shout out to him for paying his dues and serving his suspension in the right way, not getting in trouble, keeping his head clear and down or whatever, and coming back. And I know he's excited to be back with his guys.
Give me that back shoulder. If we can unlock this, y'all done fucked up. Y'all can be scoring 30 now. And we got next. If we get easy sixes, we ain't got to think. Just throw a back shoulder fade.
Good luck.
Bombs over Baghdad.
It's over with. That Pat Mahomes 1.5 about to be 2.5 every week for passing touchdowns. If you start doing that, it's over with. So you better get the juice now.
So yeah, I can't wait. Obviously, we give RASHEE right back on Sunday. Man, it's gonna be so fun. Anything else, guys, before we go ahead and get on out of here?
Make sure I check out Red Shirt Podcast tomorrow. A lot going on there tomorrow. Be talking about the college football landscape, playoffs, everything that's coming up. A lot of big dubs for a lot of good teams in the nation or whatever. So yeah, check us out, man. Me and Trey.
Absolutely. Underdog Fantasy. Use code CHUTH3 for $100 deposit match. Like I said, baseball playoffs going on. Shout out to the Mariners taking care of the Blue Jays, going up 2-0 on them. Dodgers and Brewers are playing right now. NHL starting up. NBA starting up. Midst of the football season. College and NFL. College basketball tipping off soon, man. A lot of fun things. Good time. Make sure you guys sign up for Underdog. They got all of it. Code CHUTH3, $100 deposit match for new users. And again, game day box, noon game. So get out there maybe a little bit earlier on the Sunday. Get out there a little earlier. Just make sure you go out there. Tell them King Cat sent you.
Bring it to the parking lot with you and share with your
friends. Somebody help me get my Twitter account back.
Please.
I got clips. Please.
It was one of
Please help me get my Twitter account. I got
so you got reported by Lions fans, right?
It was definitely
bro. I don't know what happened. I was on my.
It happened on the day
I woke up. Listen, I woke up Monday morning. I had made a couple tweets about Brian Branch. I was in a space, and then my account said, "Oh, just gone." I was like, trying to log back in. I'm like,
what?
Hold on. Yeah. What happened? So if somebody out there, listen, if you're tech, because I'm not really tech savvy or anything like that. If you know somebody at Twitter or whatever, please help me get my account back because I need it.
Them Lion fans don't play, boy. They got real sensitive with these.
Right? Got me about the paint.
Quick. I know my lesson. I ain't talking shit to y'all. I don't want no smoke. Don't get my shit clapped. I'm cool.
Man, they're idiots in my personal opinion. But that's just me, you know. That's how you know the Chiefs are back, man. The Chiefs are back because everybody's blaming the refs instead of their own incompetence.
I didn't see a ref tweet at all on Monday when we lost to the Jaguar. Didn't see a
and
ref
had
tweet
13 penalties. Ain't see nothing about that. Hey,
we win. All the ref tweets come out.
I don't know what this is. I haven't watched it yet, but RASHEE Rice just put this on Instagram.
Oh boy.
EG.
Whoa.
Turning soon, baby. RASHEE Rice, happy to have you back. See you on Sunday, y'all. Peace out. Go Chiefs.
Chiefs.